All right, everybody. So sit toward the front edge of your chair, move the buttock flesh back, and then holding on to the sides of the chair, lean forward. Take the feet hip width, the knees hip width also, and lean forward. Spread the chest open. So this is kind of like rope one, you know, like when you're holding on to the ropes at the studio and you're leaning forward. So starting off with the chest opening here. Ground down through the feet, through the legs, buttocks are down, and then lengthen through the sides of the waist, sides of the chest, all the way up to the armpits, and then release. Scoot back now toward like the center of the chair, you know, where the chair seat dips a little bit. Then come forward again. Make sure that the knees are wide enough so that the trunk is not impeded as you extend forward. So it's a little bit more intense the further back the hips go, but this is really great for shoulder opening, shoulder tightness. And if you want, you can even take your hands higher. So you can control the intensity of this pose. I'll give you a diagonal view. You can control the intensity of the pose by where you place your hands and where you sit on the chair. The more I slide back, see, the more intense the angle is. So you can figure out what is best for you today. All right? Then from here, interlock your fingers. Sit on the front edge again. Release. Sit on the front edge again, because that sitting on the front edge helps to keep our spine alert. It's harder to slouch when you're sitting on the edge of the chair. Interlock your fingers. Press the palms forward and reach up with interlocked arms and pull the arms in toward the ears. Lengthen up to the side walls of the trunk, side waist. Keep the, not to let the buttock flesh pop up, but lengthen the buttock flesh downward. Extend out. Interlock the other way. We always start off with the same little routine to get the mobility of the spine, the mobility of the shoulder joint, extension through the trunk, stimulation to the heart and lungs. Extend out. And now Gomukhasana. So the left hand, I'm mirroring you. The left hand will come out to the side and then come back, so you can take hold of the chair back here with the left hand. And then climb the left hand further and further up. You can scoot back toward the center of the chair if you feel like you need to get closer to the bar. Then reach out through the right arm. Turn your palm to face the wall behind you. And then without tilting your head, bend the arm and lift that elbow higher and higher. Now you could climb the left hand up to meet the right hand, or you could just keep holding on to the bar of the chair. Chin up, shoulders level, lift up to the left side of the trunk. And release. Gomukhasana. Take the right hand behind. And take the hand onto the bar of the chair behind you. And lift the chest up. Use this pull of the arm behind you to get this shoulder, to get the shoulder back, collarbone broad, and then, but then at the same time lift the chest up. So not to let the chest cave, and then reach up through the left arm, turn your palm up, back toward the wall behind you, extend through that arm more and more and more. Now, touch your arm to your head, touch your head to your arm so that you kind of know where you are in space. And don't change any of that as you bend the arm. So now the palm comes to the upper back and lift the elbow more and more. And then either you can hold on to the bar, or you can walk your right hand up to your left hand and clasp the fingers if you can. Gomukhasana and release. Now when you do this on your own, do it 3 times. You know, it's nice to do it 3 times, and then come forward again into this rope one position, kind of. and release. So now it's, it's standing poses week, actually, week 1. And so we've been working a lot on the hips and legs today, this week. And so, so come up to the balls of your feet. Come up to the tiptoes like this. Okay, sit on the edge of the chair. And then let the knees come out. The heels are up, the knees are out. So lengthen through the inner thigh, but then grip the outer thigh in. When you grip the outer thigh into the hip socket, you should feel very tall. You can even hold on to the back of the chair with your hands, and that will help you to feel very tall. Now from here, spin on the ball of the foot and bring your knees to touch. The heels are out, heels way out. So the feet are wider than the knees. The feet extend outward, but the knees inward. So it's internal rotation, so internally rotating the thighs. Once again, the groins and thighs, inner thighs should be soft. And then spin out and rotate in. So what we're doing here is we're exploring the range of motion of the thigh in the hip socket and trying to really get that turning out. Now knees in, touch, and then out and in. Do 3 more times. External rotation, internal rotation. External rotation, sit up tall, internal rotation. One more time, external rotation and internal rotation. What we're doing here is and then come back to neutral. What we're doing here is we're activating the deep tissue nerve fibers in that hip socket, and it activates the femoral nerve, which connects from the hip socket into the brain and conveys information. It's a two-way street, conveys information between the legs and the brain, and so we're creating a stronger connection of the brain into the lower limbs. Okay, so now, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So with the chair against the wall or heavy furniture, downward dog. Remember in Adho Mukha Svanasana, the hips go behind the heels go behind the hips. All right. Stretching through the arms, stretching through the backs of the legs. Downward facing dog. And inhale, come on up. Now watch me, we're gonna do kind of an odd little thing. Similar to when you were sitting, I'll do a downward dog, and I'll bend the legs, and then I'll go out with the knees, in with the knees. Out with the knees, in with the knees. So it's like a little frog kind of movement, exploring that, the movement of the femur and hip socket. Okay, so try it. So, the chair, firm, and then downward dog, and then bend the legs a little bit. Bend the legs maybe like 30 degrees, and then external rotation, knees turn out. Internal rotation, knees turn in. External rotation, internal rotation. Do like a few rounds, do 3 more rounds. Yeah, so now it's weight bearing, and so it's different. And really sort of juicing that hip, lubricating that hip, the femur and the hip socket. Good. And then come back to neutral. Come back to classic Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right. So that's some of the things that we're working on this week. Okay, and now come on up to your feet. So now we'll do some standing poses with the help of the chair. So here I've set up a mat that's perpendicular to the wall. I don't really have a good wall in this room, but it'll do over here. Okay, I just need a partial wall. And have your chair. Okay, so it'll be like this. The chair is facing the long end of the mat. Okay, so watch here for a moment. Your right foot will be at the wall, and then I step the legs wide. I step the legs wide, and then I turn the left leg out. The chair will be here. Okay, and really close so I can hold on to the top and have the hand on the seat. Okay, so now be here for a moment. You could have your right hand at the wall. Right hand at the wall, left leg toward the center of the room. Right leg at the wall. Right heel bracing the wall. Okay? And then turn your left leg out, turn your left foot out. Now, bend your left leg a little bit and roll that thigh out completely, the left leg out. Strong external rotation of the left leg. And then straighten the left leg, and as you straighten the left leg, pull from the left outer thigh into the hip socket very, very firmly. And grip the quadricep, the left quadriceps. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bring the hand to the chair. You can bring your hand to the chair or your elbow to the chair. It kind of depends on you, your proportions. Hold on to the top of the chair with your right hand. And then turn the thigh out, turn the left leg out, grip the left outer thigh in, turn the front of the hips to the right, lengthen the buttocks toward the right heel. Not to let the buttocks bunch toward the left foot, but extend both buttocks toward the right heel so that you can get more length of the trunk. And then from there, turning the left thigh out, grip the outer thigh in. So this is kind of one of the most important things that we've been talking about this week, is gripping the outer thigh into the hip socket to secure that femur in the hip socket and extend to the crown of the head. And inhale, come on up. Turn the feet and step together. And then you'll turn around. So now the left foot, your left foot will be at the wall. Your right foot will be toward the center of the room. You have your left hand at the wall to help with balance. Now bend your right leg and make sure the chair is in front of you, okay? Then now bend your right leg slightly, because with that little bend, you might be able to get a little bit more rotation in the right leg, external rotation with that right leg. So with the leg slightly bent, really roll, really milk that rotation. Turn it out as much as you can, and then grip from the right outer thigh into the hip socket really firmly. Inhale, exhale. Come on over into Utthita Trikonasana. You could either have your hand on the seat or your elbow on the seat, or you could lift your elbow by putting a blanket or a bolster on the seat of the chair. So it's up to you and what's happening in your body. Lengthen both buttocks toward the left heel, more and more. And have your hand at the top of the chair. If you push your left hand into the top of the chair, then you can use that as leverage to pull your left shoulder back. Keep turning the right leg out, right outer thigh in. Turn the front of the hips to the left. Good. And inhale, come on up. So now, and step together. Going back to the first side, we'll take Utthita Parshva Konasana. All right? So your right foot will come to the wall, left foot to the center. All right. Now, slowly bend your left leg so that you can feel the femur turning in the hip socket. And then you can also grip the outer thigh into the hip socket more and more. And now bring your elbow onto your left elbow onto your left knee, your palm on the chair. Pull the chair in so that you can hold the top of the chair. And with the leg bent, like I said before, sometimes with the leg bent, we can get a little bit more play in the hip, a little bit more freedom in the hip. So get the left outer thigh gripping into the hip socket. And then lengthen, once again, lengthen both buttocks toward the back foot. Extend to the crown of the head. And then press your right hand into the top of the chair to pull your right shoulder back. Take more weight to the back foot. And inhale, come on up. Turn the feet and step together. Okay, try the second side. So your left foot will come to the wall. Your right foot to the center of the room. Inhale, exhale, bend the right leg into a square. Doing so mindfully so that you're really rotating the thigh in the hip socket and gripping that outer thigh in. Then extend the trunk over the right leg. Bring your elbow to the knee, the palm to the chair, and the left hand to the top of the chair. Lengthen both buttocks toward the left heel. The right inner thigh should stay soft. So not to grip that right inner thigh, it's the outer thigh that needs to grip. The outer thigh, the right outer thigh needs to grip inward, but the inner thigh should stay soft. And inhale, come on up. Turn the feet and step together. Okay. So now let's have the chair in front, like this. And start with the back to the wall. For Ardha Chandrasana. So I'll step 4 feet away from the wall. This is step number 1. This is 2. Okay. Sometimes people think this is 1, but this is 2, 3, 4 and a half footsteps. 4.5 footsteps from the wall. Then from here, I'll bring both hands to the chair. And if possible, bring your left elbow to the chair. If that's not possible, you could put a bolster or a blanket to give you a little more height. Okay, to bring the left elbow down. Right foot will come to the wall, parallel with the floor. Okay, and then the hand will come to the top of the chair. The right hand will come to the top of the chair. Okay, so now, standing on one leg, now we have to really work on that rotation of the thigh, the standing leg thigh. So gripping the left outer thigh in, soften the left inner thigh so that it can spin, but then the outer thigh needs to grip into the hip socket, turning the thigh more and more. And it's kind of like a feeling of like screwing in a light bulb, you know, so you have to like bring it deeper and deeper into the hip socket as you press the right foot into the wall. The right foot is just there to like stabilize. The wall is there to stabilize the lifted leg. Then lengthen both buttocks toward the lifted heel. Don't let the left buttock drop to the floor, but reach it toward the right heel. And then turn the front of the hips, turn the chest to the ceiling, and step down. Step down, come into Tadasana. Okay, now the right elbow will come down to the seat of the chair. You can build up the seat of the chair as needed. Then the left foot will come to the wall. Okay? Get all those same actions. Turning the thigh. Press the foot into the wall. Press it. And turn that thigh out more and more. Straighten both legs. Grip the outer thigh into the hip socket. This is the standing leg. But soften the inner thigh so that you're not trying to do the work of the external rotation from the inner thigh. The inner thigh has to lengthen. So if you're gripping the inner thigh, then it won't lengthen. Anything that you're gripping isn't going to be spacious. Gripping automatically means shortening, contracting, you know? And so instead, lengthen the inner thigh, grip the outer thigh. Something has to grip, right? Something has to hold you up. So it's the outer thigh of the right leg that's holding you up. Lengthen both buttocks toward the lifted leg. And then turn, as you press down with the left hand to the top of the chair, turn the abdomen, turn the chest, and come on down. Tadasana. So now, Virabhadrasana 1. So the left leg, oh, hold on a second, I went the wrong way. So the left leg will be on the chair like this, okay? And the right heel will be at the wall. So you have to kind of find your distance. There we go. The right heel at the wall, the left leg on the chair. Now, if this feels impossible, you could build up the height of the chair. You could put a blanket or 2 blankets on the seat of the chair. Now reach to that right heel and lengthen through the front of the right thigh. Turn the abdomen to the left. So extend through that right heel more and more and more. So this is extension. So in terms of all the movement possibilities in the hip, we've got abduction, taking the leg away, adduction, bringing the leg into the midline, flexion, which is like lifting the knee toward the chest, extension, which is taking the leg back behind the pelvis. So this is extension in the right leg. And this is quite challenging for many of us. So take your time, really lengthening, allowing that right thigh to lengthen. See, what happens is the pelvis wants to tilt forward, right? So not to let the pelvis tilt forward, lift up to the front of the hips and get the thigh, the front of the right thigh to extend more. Okay, release. Like I said before, if that feels impossible, then put a blanket or 2 on the chair. So now the right leg goes on top, the left foot goes behind. Okay, so a little bit closer to the wall yet. Okay, so the right leg is supported by the chair, the left leg is reaching back to the wall. And so we're working on the extension of the left front thigh, right? You can hold on to the chair, back of the chair with your right arm. Holding on to the top of the chair with your right arm will help you to keep the chest square and hopefully help to keep the hips square also, so that it's not about a rotation, it's not a twist here, but it's, we're just going for straight extension today. And then reach through that leg, straighter and straighter, any amount. You could even take your arms up. Sometimes taking the arms up, you'll be able to get more height, and then that can even help you to extend the left front thigh when you reach up, especially with that left hand. And come on down. Okay, release. Okay, take downward dog again. Have your chair where it's not going to slide. And then Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let that work kind of penetrate into the deep layers of the body, the deep layers of the hip socket. Good. And then come up, sitting sideways on your chair. Let's do a little twist. So chair Vrabhadasana, inhale up, exhale, twist toward the back of the chair. Lift the chest from front to back, from bottom to top. Have the hips square, the knees square. And then release, go to the second side. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, twist to the back of the chair. Abdomen back, shoulders back, chest up. Okay. Make sure you do at least one twist every day. You know, ideally 3 twists every day, at least. Okay, so now chair Sarvangasana or Chatushpadasana. Okay, so just to remind you, the Chatushpadasana with the chair goes like this. So I'm going to be lying down and I'm holding the legs of the chair and then lifting the hips up, okay? Otherwise, chair Sarvangasana. So for chair Sarvangasana, put a 4-fold mat on your chair. And then a bolster at the foot of your chair. All right. And then sitting backwards on your chair, extend for the center of the room and then bring your elbows down, slide your shoulders onto the bolster. You can take your arms underneath and the legs over. Now, for pregnancy, especially as the baby's getting bigger, you can build up the height under the shoulders. You can put a blanket or 2 on top of the bolster and a blanket under the head so that it's not quite as steep a slope. Okay, so that's something to think about, especially as the baby gets bigger. Then release the arms. So then you stay, I'm coming out. Good. Yeah, so now just in this pose, observe the relationship of the femurs, the thigh bones in the hip socket. So what's nice about this pose, one thing that's wonderful, is the use of gravity and the drawing of the femur heads deep into the hip sockets from gravity. So it's a different relationship to the femoral nerve and a different relationship with the brain here. And so enjoy the use of gravity here, the femurs nestling deeply into the hip sockets, and the added circulation due to gravity, added circulation from the lymph nodes, the blood, the venous return into the heart and lung region. So, and what's nice about this supported version is because there's no strain, for most people, there's no strain in this pose. It's not a muscular pose. Then you can stay a while and really enjoy the physiological benefits. So I will leave you in this pose. You can stay as long as you want, and then just rest for a few minutes when you come out. But I'll bid farewell, but you can stay. All right.